He said
What's
for the
up?
week, for the week.
Thank you
How
guys so
how's
much.
you?
Thank you guys for your support. I was asleep. I worked all day today, but thank you guys for your support.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, welcome to Icon Status. Your,
Thank you.
your first night on the iconic point of view. I'm gonna put you in the big box. Go ahead and swap you on over. So, hold on a second. Here we go. All right, there we go. All right. So, all right. So, as always, with everybody, um, 99.9% of all people acknowledged are find themselves embroiled in controversy after being acknowledged. What have you
Yeah.
felt since being acknowledged? What have you gone through? What have you been feeling like?
Um, there was a lot of attacks. I guess some of it was to be expected, but then some of it wasn't to be expected. But I'm kind of a little different. I know what I know. I know what I've done as far as when it comes to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I started walking balls. Rest in peace. When Eric Christian Bazaar was commentating, when Sullivan was still a G Von G, I just remember. Um, I go back like that. I'll be 45. I just remember being one of those ones from the first batch of Pittsburgh Ballroom that was out there doing it. You know, my first category was Butch Queen up and drag performance. A lot of people don't remember that far back into my history. So, I was surprised and I'm grateful. But some of the stuff that I've gone through in the last 24 hours have been crazy. But it's just from people who don't understand. I've been a part of ballroom Pittsburgh culture um, before MySpace, Facebook, and the millennial of everything being recorded and streamed and all of that. And since I've been back home, I've done a lot of judging and sitting in places where I've, been a part of decision making and just constantly trying to nurture and help those get to the floor and to be effective. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. It's just something that you have to, this lifestyle comes with so many things. And, when you get to know people and what people are about and how people can bring it and what they give, you know how to take things.
Right.
Does it make sense?
So, right. No, no, it definitely does.
Mm,
So I just want to kind of like take an opportunity here for the people that are here that have been following the show all night to give a little perspective into you. I know you said your first category was drags performance. What other categories have you walked and made a mark in?
Um, Sneaker versus sneaker, best dress, and the old way. The old way is really my thing.
Right. Okay.
But I've
Uh,
I've been currently in the lab working on some new things. I plan on stepping into some new things in 2023.
okay. All right. Okay. And what houses have you been in over the course of your time at Ballroom?
Um, the first house that I was ever in, 1999 was House of Miyoshi, Pittsburgh's first ballroom walking house. And then from Miyoshi, there was a split. Um, there was a link between myself and Milan Christopher, and the House of Foray was here. I was, the PA father of the House of Foray for a few years. And then I took some time away from ballroom um, just due to addiction and being young and being exposed to a lot at that time. I took some time away. And when I returned back to ballroom in 2005, it was through Father John Quran. Me and John was cool, and I was a part of the House of Quran. And then after John passed away, some things happened. I came back to Pittsburgh, and I think I found myself back in the House of Ebony so easily because a lot of my children that were in the House of Foray before I left, when I came back, were then in the House of Ebony. So then I, ended up in the House of Ebony, which was, you know, did the Pittsburgh chapter over 8 years. And from there, some personal things happened. That's my bloodline and will always be my bloodline. But from there, I ended up, in the House of Elite with Devin Elite. And then from Devin Elite, I just felt like it was time to start my own thing. And I branched off and I started the House of Divine. And, did House of Divine for 2 years and, linked up with my uncle and Rodney Gotti and myself. We merged and we have the House of D&G now, the House of Divine Gotti.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I know that, several people have spoke tonight to say that, you brought them to ballroom. You were influential in their ballroom career. Just off the top of your head, can you give us, say, a few people that you were influential, that you felt like these are my babies I put out in the scene?
Uh, Dina Stanley, legendary Dina Stanley, was my first daughter.
Okay.
Havoc Ebony, my first son. Down from that generation, Daylin, Barbie, Drea, that House of Ebony was something big. Just rest in peace, Tim. Tim took a lot of time grooming me on a lot of things as far as, just getting behind and supporting. So the House of Ebony, my kids, Barbie, like that was the batch pumping and just really, really getting out there and doing some stuff. And watching them mature and grow, they're Barbie's a legend now and she's doing her thing, and Drea is soon. I've sat back and been a part of people's lives, and I'm sitting back watching now that are really doing it, and we still have that connection.
Okay. All right. Are there any plans that you have going forward for the scene? I know that different people, Kenny, Dina, Dalen, have talked about working in unison with you to just kind of make sure that the scene is organized going forward.
That's
Do you have any
I,
particular plan?
that's the biggest thing to me. Shout outs to Chris Aga, Dr. Chris. Like, there have been so many issues. People have tried to create issue after issue, year after year, and tried to make that man feel that there was always an issue. My hat has always been off to Chris, especially to be from the era that I came into ballroom and to come back to Pittsburgh, and to see Pittsburgh brought into the millennial changes of ballroom and how things were. There was an era down here in Pittsburgh where the balls were beautiful. People were coming through the city. There was just a lot that was taking place and things changed. I think too much personal between too many leaders got involved in the city change as far as how ballroom is down here. So my plan is to really try to mend ties and forces with people so that we can get Pittsburgh back and somewhere greater this year coming up and in the future.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna just ask you two more things really quick. What do you, out of everything that you've done in your ballroom career, everything, just whether walking, winning, mentoring, throwing balls, or whatever case, anything, what do you feel most proud of on this day?
That I was able to be a part of so many people's their journey. That even still to this day, my phone rings nonstop. People asking for advice, looking for encouragement. I'm happy that people trust me in their lives as far as to speak a word or just to be there. And I've been there. I'm grateful that I've come across so many different people. A lot of relationships don't last. I've watched, status give people egos. Just I've watched some things happen with some people, but I'm just glad that I've had a chance to be a part of people's journey, and I plan to still be a part of people's journey.
All right. Okay, my final question for you. The 45-year-old Sheik is hot.
Harold, I'm a preacher kid, so my mom always taught me love isn't love unless it's given away. So I've tried to always be that type of person. Yeah, I'm a Scorpio and I'm human, so I'm sure over the years you see me go back and forth like who doesn't. But at the beginning, middle, and middle, end of the day, people call me grandma, people call me granddad, people call me mom, people call me dad, people call me sister, people call me brother. So I try to be that person to the people that I deal with.
Right. And all I'm trying to do here is very, a lot of the stuff that, I've seen myself, but for the people that watch us, a lot of times there are a lot of younger people that don't have an opportunity to really have a insight into some of the people that, we're fortunate enough to come across. So basically all I'm doing is, affording them an opportunity to really get a perspective of who you are. They've heard your name for the last couple of days. So just merely my questions are solely to, allow them to, just see you for who you are. So we're about to the end of the show. And like I said, I had one more question. And so at this point, if you could go back to when you first came into the scene, what's one piece of advice you would give yourself starting out? With all that you know now, what would you tell yourself starting out?
Follow your gut. I've had issues too over the years. You let people in, and they can. People are very easy to manipulate other people, especially when people are at places in life where they can be manipulated. And
Right.
I was 17, and to end up, doing drugs and some of the stuff that I ended up doing so earlier on in my life, I just should have followed my gut and not other things. So, and ballroom has changed. Like Harold, I just remember we walked balls where there was only 2 cash prizes. You know what I'm saying? Like we went to the ball to get these bowling sized trophies. So even how the money aspect that is coming to ballroom, people getting cut, the fights and all the like, I just, I've always said I wish I just would have followed my gut, because it took a long time to get to that place where I'm trusting me and only me. I put my trust in other people and end up failed. So, if I could look back and say the only thing I really wish I could have changed was to follow my just I should have just did some things from the inside and not under influence.
We live and we learn, and we take those lessons that we experience, and
Right.
They've shaped us, but those are lessons that you can pass on to others. So, all right. Well, thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you coming up here. Feel free to come through and chat with us at any given time. Arnold, Rodney, J Rock, and I are here, every week. So,
Thank you, guys. Thank you
Nice to
so
meet
much.
you.
You
all
too.
right.
All
All
right.
right, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you for watching the show. Don't forget, Marcus's Ball is this weekend in North Carolina. Crimes of the Century. Doors open at 3. Double Jeopardy is the next night. There's a brunch. There's a Kiki Ball. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend. So book your rooms,
Ready to go.
plan accordingly, and we'll see you there. Arnold, you have anything before we go, or J Rock?
Nah, good. Y'all have a great night.
Be blessed.
J Rock.
And congrats,
J Rock.
Cheeks.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Congrats, Cheeks.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, y'all have a good night.
Take care, y'all.
All right. Bye bye.